Okay, so with all problem solving, we're looking for a rule or a formula. And if I'm interested in a perimeter, that's the sum of the lengths of the sides. So this side plus this side plus this side plus this side, that will make the perimeter of the rectangle. And so it is 5, it is 5f plus 2g, that's this side. And then we're going to have that again, opposite, 5f plus 2g. And then this side over here, plus 3f minus 4g. And then again over that side, plus 3f minus 4g. So that is an expression for the perimeter of the rectangle. And in its simplest form, now all we have to do is collect like terms. So I've got 5f plus 5f, which is 10f, plus another 3f and another 3f, that makes 16f altogether. Now be careful with your minus signs. Plus 2g, that makes 4g, minus 4g, all of this is cancelled out, and there's just one minus 4g left on the end, so minus 4g. And there's our answer in its simplest form, 6f minus 4g. Now for the next question, again we're looking for some kind of rule or formula, okay, and I'm going to start that off over here by saying the sum of the angles in a triangle adds up to 180. So if I add the angles, I get 180 degrees. Now I'm going to substitute into that rule. Remember, at this stage, it's not about finding the value of x. It's not about solving the problem. It's about laying out what the rule looks like for this triangle. So that is 6x plus 7x plus 5x equals 180. Now, there is some nice simplifying over here. Remember, this step n, which we call number crunching, can also just be simplifying, making it look a bit nicer. And if I look at 6x plus 7x plus 5x, I can do a very simple bit of collecting here and say that's 18x equals 180. So everything that we've just done, remember, that is setting up, and now I have an equation to solve. And that's going to simply be solved by dividing by 18 on both sides, leaving us with x equals 180 divided by 18 is 10. So that is the value of x, that's that part of the question done. Remember, we approach these questions not by worrying about how to do this, but by figuring out what rule, substituting in, doing any easy calculations, and then equation solving, and that will take us where we want to go. Now the next part of the question is wanting us to find the size of the largest angle in the triangle, and so the largest angle in the triangle will obviously be the one that was marked 7x. So this question over here is done very easily. I now know that x is 10, so 7x, which is 7 times 10, is 70 degrees. And that's that part of the question done. Let's have a look at the next problem. In the square-based tin, the cake is 4 centimeters high, the volume of the cake is 1600 cubic centimeters, and I want to work out the length of the side of the base of this tin. Now in this question, we need to start off with whatever rule is most important, whatever formula fits this stuff the best. And seeing as we're talking about the volume of a cuboid, that's going to be the volume of a cuboid formula, which is base times height times depth. Okay, now it doesn't actually matter which of these you label, but remember, because it's a square-based tin, whatever this length is will be the same over here. So I'm going to call both of these things x, and then we know it's 4 centimeters high, so we'll call that length over there 4. Algebra comes into play when we label things that we don't know. So you have to take the initiative here and you have to put some labels on this diagram. Otherwise, you won't have anything to substitute into your equation. So now I'm going to substitute in my letters and my numbers. The volume is actually known. The volume is 1600, so that's going to go at the beginning. Now, the base and the depth of the tin are what I've called x. So I've got two of those. I've got x times x, or x squared. And the height is 4, so we're going to label that as 4. If you were thinking of this as being the depth of the tin over here, that's absolutely fine. You would end up with the same thing. So now there aren't any really very straightforward calculating jobs to do. I'm going to go straight into solving my equation. The first thing I want to do is divide both sides by 4, so I can get closer to just x equals. So as usual, we end up there. 1600 divided by 4 is 400. And then finally, to solve x squared equals something, we're going to take a square root. So I'm going to square root both sides and say x equals the square root of 400, which is equal to 20 centimeters. And there's our answer. Remember that square roots can have negative answers as well. We could also say minus 20 here, but in this problem that doesn't make any sense because it's supposed to be the length of something. So our final answer is 20 centimeters. So now here's a question which is about a frequency table or maybe a probability table. Looks quite different. During the year, Camilla's team played 24 matches. We can see that information is represented over here. She won W, she drew 6, and she lost L. Write down an equation in terms of W and L for the number of matches played. So we know that this 24 is the total, and that all of this stuff over here has to add up to 24. So there's no rule you have to memorize for this question. You just have to look at the information you're given and realize that the rule is W plus L plus 6 equals 24. Now this will get you the mark, but we always want to tidy up if we can. So what I'm going to do is just collect that 6 over to the other side. I went over the equal sign, so now it's a minus 6. W plus L equals 18. And that will be the equation that I remember. Now, because we've written down an equation and it has two unknowns, I'm wondering if perhaps later on I might have another equation with two unknowns, and I might have to do some simple simultaneous equation solving. So I'm thinking about where this question might go, which is really important exam technique. If you have a multi-stage question, this has got parts 1, 2, and 3, then I want to be thinking about where this might go, why did they make me do this, and what might happen next. So let's take a look at the next part of the question. Points are given when a team wins or draws a match. The points are, if you win a match, there's 3, if you draw a match, there's 1, and if you lose a match, you get no points. And the team has a total of 54 points. Write down an equation in terms of W for the total points given. Okay, well, if we win a match, we get 3 points. I won W matches. So the points I'm getting over here will be 3 times W, the number of wins. If I drew 6 matches, then that'll be 6 matches, 1 point each, 6 points. And it doesn't matter how many matches I lost, because I don't get any points for those. So that's not going to help me add up to 54. So, my 54 points come from 3 points for every win, plus 6 points for my draws. That makes 54. Now, once again, that will get me the mark, but good maths says always tidy up if you can. And I can see an opportunity here to move that 6 to the other side, making it a minus 6 and putting my numbers together. That would leave me with 3W equals 48. And actually, while I'm at it, I kind of want to solve this equation because I can. Remember, I've already got my point over here. So I'm just following this and trying to make the simplest answer I can. If I do 48 divided by 3, that's going to get me 16. So it turns out I won 16 times. And now remember this equation we wrote down over here? W plus L equals 18. Well, if I've been thinking about how these pieces might connect together, I can realize now I've got the value of W, and to work out the value of L, I know that 16 plus L equals 18, and either by algebra or by common sense, I guess, we can work out that L equals 2, and then I've got my last couple of points. So here we go with the last one for this video. Mr. and Mrs. Barker have 3 children, Molly, Dean, and Raoul. And they're giving us some information. Molly's age is X years, so her age is X over here. Dean is 5 years younger than Molly, so we have to take Molly's age and subtract 5. They've written X minus 5, we can agree with that. Raoul is 4 years older than Molly. So if we take Molly's age, which we're calling X, and add 4 to it, we're going to get Raoul's age. Mr. Barker is 4 times older than Molly. So we have to take Molly's age, X, and times it by 4. And the simplest way to write that is simply 4X. And Mrs. Barker is 6 years younger than Mr. Barker. So let's write down Mr. Barker's age, 4X, and subtract 6 from it. 4X minus 6 will be Mrs. Barker's age. And that gets me those 2 points there. Now they're giving me a rule. They're telling me these ages add up to 125, and they want me to write down an equation and simplify it to get this result. So the total means we add everything together. That is X plus X minus 5 plus X plus 4 plus 4X plus 4X minus 6. And that we know has to add up to 125. Now if we look at all of our X's, we've got 1, 2, 3, plus another 4, that makes 7X, plus another 4, that makes 11X. Then with my numbers, I've got minus 5 plus 4, which is negative 1, minus 6 takes me to negative 7. Minus 7 equals 125. And there it is. Now, again, what they're trying to do here is lead us through a process of writing down a rule, putting our numbers into it, simplifying and solving. So it's not very surprising that now I have to solve this equation. 11x minus 7 equals 125. 11x equals 125 plus 7, which is 132. And then we have to divide both sides here by 11. And that gives me 12. So Molly is 12 years old. Okay, and the rest of the solutions for this worksheet will be in the next video.